I always think, I wish more than anything, and I always have, that I had some little red dye to inject into those birds. Because the more people step away from eating beef, unless it's for ethical reasons, the more they start eating chicken, and the more animals are in trouble. I do talk a lot about going vegan and being vegan because everybody eats. As Peter Singer said, that most people's interaction with animals occurs 3 times a day when they sit down to eat them. And today, United States Department of Agriculture figures show that in America, people eat 1 million animals every hour. And most of those are chickens. I say vegan, I don't want to say pure vegetarian, which you could also say, because that sounds as if you have to go to church and you can't drink beer. When you're talking about veganism or anything else, I'd say don't worry if people aren't receptive. The human species isn't very bright, it just thinks it is. It has to hear the message several times. We all had to go through that. Every summer, Peter serves veggie hot dogs at ballparks and outdoor activities, and they taste pretty much like other hot dogs, I'm sure. And we give away free samples. But there are always some people who come up and they look at it and they say, yes, vegetarian hot dogs? And what's in those things? And you say, well, vegetables, soybeans, and they say, oh, and they wrinkle their nose. And I always wonder, would they be happy if you said, oh, sorry, these are the meat ones. What's in them? Let's see. Ground muscle, ear, nose skin, rectums. One day I'm going to try that. Real meat, like real leather, has a certain stench to it. I've stood on the kill floors in many slaughterhouses over the years. One's for chickens, one's for horses, for cattle, even for dogs in Taiwan. And I can only say that after those experiences, meat to me smells like hot death, because that is the smell that permeates the slaughterhouse. I can't associate it with anything edible. It conjures up memories to me of all the animals I have watched going down with their feet stuck in those clamps or being hung up by the neck. And their eyes are always wide, and they are always so afraid. Dog, chicken, cow, calf. And it's always as if they look at you and they say, help me, this cannot be happening to me. They have never, I don't care what anyone in the farming industry says, those animals never expect that moment to come. It is just too horrific. If the smell of meat still smells good to you, I would say force yourself, please, and go and watch one of the films that's here of the little pigs going down the ramp to their deaths, or the little chickens looking up and seeing the man with the knife in front of them. It really is worth forcing yourself to do it. Human beings should be in awe of all the other animals. They're never greedy. They live well on the earth. They don't despoil it. They don't pollute it. They live simply. It isn't because of them that the sun is searing into the earth, bringing starvation to the peoples of Africa, that no one can drink from our waterways, that sparrows are dying throughout Europe, frogs are disappearing in South America, and penguins are found floating dead in the Antarctic. An albatross was the first to go around the world and knew that the world was round before we did, and did it without instruments. Dolphins use sonar. Ants construct boats to cross rivers. We should be in awe. Our own species has trashed the place. The supermarket has replaced all the natural food and pharmacies. The Congo is disappearing, and with it the most amazing examples of life, of foods, and of medicine. Inside those jungles are elephants, chimpanzees, monkeys, antelopes, small rodents, leopards, tree frogs, crocodiles, birds, insects, and deer. Millions and millions of them. Yet unlike our cities, their ground is rich with vegetation, The forest canopy provides shade, the rivers are clear, and the food is abundant. In 5 years, it will almost all be gone. And because we humans here have so much greed, not need, but greed, that we want more rubber, more minerals, we want more logs, more lumber, we just want more. That's what our species is defined as. We gorge ourselves on foods that cause heart attacks and strokes and cancers, and then we torment animals in laboratories in the hope of finding pills that will allow us to continue to gorge ourselves. In the animal kingdom, animals don't succumb to heart attack and cancer and stroke in these ways. They eat what nature intended, they remain healthy, they use natural medicines. Our species is so proud of having language, yet we ignore the fact that the elephant mothers talk to their babies subsonically. That means at frequencies that are too low for us to hear without instruments. And rats do the same thing. Rhinos use breathing signals as messages, and tree frogs tap out their messages on the logs. Even the tiniest little insect produces too high-pitched and too fast sounds for us to interpret. Over 1,700 different dolphin whistles have been recorded. We don't bother to record the sounds of those animals. It would be too inconvenient for us to know about. We're doing to beavers and coyotes and prairie dogs what was done to Native American human beings just a wink of an eye ago. We are destroying their land. We're seizing their families. We're poisoning and shooting them in cold blood. It is our species' failure to understand all the other species on the planet